certain kind of light that's never shone on me. I want my whole life to be lived with you, lived with you. There's a way. Everybody say every little thing, and it's true. But what good does it bring if I ain't got you? Ain't got you. You don't know what it's like, baby, you don't know what it's like to love somebody, to love somebody the way I love you. My brain, see your face again. I know my frame of mind. You ain't got to be so blind. But I understand, 'cause I'm blind, so blind. But I'm a woman, can't you see what I am? I live and I breathe for you. But what good does it do if I ain't got you? Ain't got you. You don't know. You don't know what it's like. You don't know. You don't know what it's like to love somebody. To love somebody the way I love you. Gotta do the last verse again, just for myself. Hey now, in my brain, I see your face again. 'Cause I know my frame of mind. Nobody has to be so blind and so unfeeling, but I understand I'm blind. So blind. But can't you see what I am? I live and I breathe for you. Good does it do? I ain't got you. Child, if I ain't got you now. See, you don't know. You don't know what it's like. You don't know what it's like to love somebody. To love somebody. I ain't finished to love somebody. To love somebody. To love somebody. The way that I love you.
Family, what's good with you? I am Alexis Roan, aka Alexis Grace, founder of Truth Meets Story LLC, expanding empathy one story at a time, and your host for Jesus Jazz and Dessert Wine at Vespers. Jesus Jazz and Dessert Wine at Vespers is a faith and adult storytelling series. By faith, I mean we explore the mystery of God's presence and perceived absence in our lived reality. And we do this exploration via the tool adult storytelling. By adult storytelling, I mean we tell stories to adults, for adults, and for people with a developed adult context. And for that reason, we do not apologize for how we show up in this space. We assume that everyone who's here can handle what it means to be here. 7-year-olds have a story time, and now so do adults. You're welcome. Okay, so I am a cartographer of the inner life. I am an ethnographer of South Park Village, Houston, Texas. I am currently working on some content about the Moynihan Report, which next year will have been 60 years that they issued this. The federal government issued this quote official uh, report on the state of the Black family. And from that report, I think like 5 years later, there was another smaller government department and agency like Family and Children Department did a separate study where we were given the term broken home. A home where a father was not present was listed as was called a quote broken home. And they had all this data and all the statistics. And one of the things that came from that outside of the term quote broken home was this idea that Black women, particularly Black matriarchs, were vilified. And I am the daughter of a Black matriarch, a single parent household, because the the home before that that had the father in it, it was on some bullshit. You know? And so we go to South Park Village, where these other families are there, female-headed households that had also left the household with the father in it because they too were on some bullshit. And so I remember being in that community. I remember the people. I remember the prayers. I remember all of the sermons and the preachers demonizing Black mothers and single parented households and all of the fear mongering that happened. And I got some stuff to say about that. And so I'm currently creating content, and it has been an absolute blessing to be in this moment, to just sit and think and to reflect. Again, I just celebrated my 55th turn around the sun, was gifted some time by a lake, my favorite lake, hashtag if you know, you know. And, but was really just directed to just sit and think. And so I accepted that call to remember. But what was fascinating was that I was thinking about the power of memory and was just allowing myself to reflect on whatever came up. And something came up that actually happened 1954. Kingman, Arizona, a religious sect in the Mormon community had a religious practice of marrying young girls, multiple wives, but specifically marrying young girls. The Attorney General, 1954 Arizona, was like, this is some bullshit. We got to go in there and rescue these girls. And so the Attorney General attempted to do that, but a massive outcry from Americans citing the First Amendment right to freedom of religion was chin checking the Arizona government. It's like, how dare you go in there and be disruptive to their faith practices and freedom of religion, da, 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 da. So the Attorney General backed off. 50 years later, a new Attorney General, but the same community with the same practice, has now faced a different America. Kingman, Arizona, Mormon sect, marrying young girls. And it is, as they call it, the story that they're telling is that this is our religious practice. Well, the leader of that sect had just married his 12-year-old bride and recorded their wedding night. In the recording, you hear her wincing, you hear the discomfort. But now that they faced a new America, that motherfucker is doing time as a pedophile, actually here in Texas. And it is interesting what 50 years of raising the collective consciousness will do. A call to remember. Remembering what it feels like when other people tell the story, when the government goes in and does things and people are like, hey, it's the law, it's permitted. And then 50 years later, same practice. You got new voices saying, fuck that. I hold on to those stories because I am fascinated and encouraged by what it means to continue to hope, to not ever let go of hope, and to not ever go quietly into the night, to rage and to let your rage be noted in the historical annals so that people can go back and reflect and to do what they need to do. Powerlessness against the system feels a particular way, but I would say powerlessness in any setup feels hard, and it becomes easy to despair and to give up. And today I'm thinking about Dr. Jeremiah Wright, prophet, scholar, preacher, who told a story about a moment when he felt powerless as a parent. Had to do with his daughter. She was 15 years old and she had a 19-year-old boyfriend. Dr. Wright did not approve of this situation, and he did all that he could as a parent to protect her and to keep her from this dude. Dr. Wright would take her to school in the morning, watch her go into the school, and then would pick her up when school was done. That was his way of parenting and protecting her and keeping her from this 19-year-old, what he called a predator, but what she called a boyfriend. The parts that he could control, he controlled. What he didn't know was that the boyfriend's mother would be parked at the back of the school. So Dr. Wright would drop his daughter off at the front of the school, and his daughter would then go on out the back door, the back of the school, where her boyfriend's mother was waiting to take her to their home, where the 19-year-old son was waiting for her. They would smoke weed. They would have sex. And then she'd get brought back to the school for Dr. Wright to pick her up at the end of the school day. He was powerless to change that situation. Apparently, they ended up, and perhaps it was because as a parent, he may have been trying to do like some statutory rape charges or something. And somehow they got a therapist involved. And what the therapist told Dr. Wright was probably one of the most difficult things that he, as a powerful person, as a man of God, as a faith-based person, as an honorable man, one of the hardest things that he had to hear. And the therapist said to him, Dr. Wright, you are powerless in this situation. The best you can do is wait for your daughter to get done with this boy. You just have to sit and wait. If these are the kinds of games that they're going to play, just sit and wait. He knew that the situation could go horrible in so many different ways. And the fact that he could not protect his daughter from her own choices, to sit in that powerlessness, not knowing how long, oh Lord, was a very dark space that led him to despairing. How long, oh Lord, when you have no way of managing, mitigating, controlling, and you simply have to sit in that powerlessness. Powerlessness in systems, powerlessness when in personal situations, recognizing that everyone has agency. And until they're ready to do whatever it is that needs to be done, many of us who are looking out for the common good, we just got to sit and wait. And that feels hard, because it is hard. There are 4 things that we do at Jesus Jazz and Dessert Wine, and I would like to use this story in illustrating each one of these 4 things. The first is that we offer a public lament. Here's what I lament. In this story, the earlier story about the Arizona Attorney General and the polygamous cult leader who was raping 12-year-olds, and then also with Dr. Wright's, the story of his daughter and the 19-year-old boyfriend. When we cannot directly impact a situation, sometimes we just kind of give over to this sense of hopelessness, this despair. We want goodness for people. We want them to make healthy choices. As much as it depends on us, we will step in and make the healthy choices that are going to benefit all of us. But at the end of the day, when people have the choice to decide what's real and right for them, when they take agency, we have to sit back and let the thing be what it's going to be. Recognizing that, yes, everyone has personal choices, and also every present choice you make has a future. I lament that sometimes we make choices where the future is hella questionable and can be very scary. But here's the prophetic hope. I met with one of my professors in seminary, and it was at a time when I had made a choice, and I'd been making a series of choices, but this one particular choice that I made was after I questioned whether or not God could be trusted. I questioned the validity of continuing to honor the scriptures. I questioned the effectiveness of prayer, like why pray? I had been doing all of these things, and yet I still ended up in this particular situation that I was praying like, Lord, please don't let this be the thing. And that ended up being the very thing that I was caught up in. and I did not know which way to go. The scriptures, there were certain promises that I had held on to. There were certain prayers that I prayed. There were certain scriptures that I inserted my name and in these scriptures, and I recited them as a way of staying hopeful, as a way of living above the fray, not giving in to despair. And I was not seeing where it was worth continuing to do. And so I went to this professor. I was like, okay, look, I think I'm a fraud. And I think I'm done with this. I've been doing all that the script said to do, and I'm not getting what the script says that I'm supposed to get. And so maybe there's just nothing to the script. And I'm being very honest with her. And she just bust out laughing. And what she said to me was that the reality is that we live in a context where everything is transactional. We are all the time looking for the payoff for a thing. We do this and we're going to get that. That's the context that we live in. She said, but the truth is, we don't control the outcomes. We can control what we do. We cannot control how people respond to it or what we're going to get in response to it. We can't control shit. She said, we can't control our we can't control our spouses, and we cannot control our children. That's what it means to have free will. But then sis said, but if you're looking for a promise that you can anchor your life to, if you're looking for a prophetic hope, it is this. She leans towards the desk, leans over the desk, and she says, lo, I am with you always. And that's not a little thing. That's the whole game. My prophetic hope is that even though we know we cannot control outcomes, we can decide that we're going to always do whatever it is that we need to do as much as it depends on us. We're going to do the right thing. We're going to honor people. We're going to be responsible. We're going to love. We're going to nurture. We're going to remember the whole story. We're not going to decide that today we plant the seed or today we water the seeds that have already been planted, and that because we don't see the sprout or because it doesn't sprout on our timetable, that somehow planting is a fruitless activity. Praying is fruitless. But we're going to declare today that the prophetic hope that, lo, I am with you always, is not a little thing, that it is indeed the whole game. And the reason why we don't have to surrender to despair, we simply need to make a decision to remember, a call to remember. Ashe. The third thing we do at Jesus Jazz and Dessert Wine is we offer an energizing memory. And today I would like to recognize the Black matriarch who put together the household that I so lovingly grew up in, with all them damn rules that was meant to keep me safe, was meant to keep the home sane. The Black matriarch, one Emma Pearl. Tomorrow is her 75th birthday. I remember all of the ways that she was having to figure this shit out on her own. I remember how she was careful to not disparage my father to his mother, who had no idea that he was one of those deadbeat dads that she kept hearing about on TV and news articles and research papers and stuff. They were talking about her son. My mother kept that shit from her. She continued to worship in spaces where Black men stood at pulpits and demeaned Black women, demeaned single mothers, not recognizing that women, Black mothers, many times they were asking for love, but got children instead. And my mother handled that shit like a G. And I love her and I appreciate her dearly. And so I know all of the shame-filled shit that she, took on. I know that there were a lot of times that she um, lifted her head, um, but her face was maxed. She wore the mask as a way of just staying above despair and above the fray. The government saying shit and the preacher saying shit, but ultimately her prophetic hope was, "Lo, I am with you always." And that's not a little thing. That's the whole game. And when that becomes your prophetic hope, you just show up differently. By the grace of God, tomorrow on her 75th birthday, she is doing all of the things. As a matter of fact, today she is attending a women's empowerment event, and she, busted into my room and had this outfit on. And her question to me was, "Are these pants tight enough?" Oh, like, "Mama, be 75, just be better." Like, the pants are perfect. Like, we don't need them no tighter. Like, right, we're not doing tight pants no more. I think the current fashion is like no tight pants, so you good. Like, energizing memory is that the Black matriarch, uh, to which I was assigned, is doing amazing and has done amazing. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, she has already come. And by the grace of God, she will be led and continue to do amazing in all of the spaces. So happy birthday, Emma Pearl. I love you tons. The fourth and final thing we do at Jesus Jazz and Dessert Wine is we talk about giving. Now, a lot of times when you're in religious circles, they talk about giving, it's always about money. It's not what we're doing here. I am encouraging you to give space to silence. Find a space, a spot, a moment on your calendar, in your home, for an occasion, like, I don't know, but find a space for silence and wonder so that your memory will be engaged and you can reflect on some things, and prayerfully that will settle your nervous system. Because if we continue to watch all of the folks who are responsible, allegedly, for keeping us safe, for keeping us sane, for keeping us collectively thriving, a lot of times they miss. It's been that way throughout history. So give yourself permission, give yourself space to just sit with silence and wonder and remember that all is well. To God be the glory, to the earth be peace, and to you be the courage to live in a way that what you have already more than conquered will be proof that you can do hard things, you can love, you can overcome, you can be everything that your highest dream will permit. I pray that you not give in to despair. I pray that you simply remember that "Lo, I'm with you always" is not a little thing. That's the whole game. And may you play this game to win. Ashe, Selah. So be it. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next week. Blessings.